all right.
All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have R&B legend. We got Lil Mac, also known as Larry McFarland of the legendary R&B group 4 p.m. right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
Oh man, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I gotta say, first and foremost, I've been excited for this interview, man, myself. I grew up listening to 4 p.m., man, so it's definitely an honor just to have 1/4 of the legendary group here on the station this evening.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. That's showing me much love, man. Like I said, we enjoyed doing that back then. It was just great. You know, the music was great back then.
I gotta say, it definitely is. I gotta say, R&B back then was so amazing, man. Now, I gotta say, there's still some great R&B artists out there, man, but it's all kind of like a hit and miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, you know, nothing against the artists that are out there now, because there's some real good artists out there. And but you know, I miss a lot of that real smooth singing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are crazy now.
But I gotta ask, man, I want to take you back to the beginning of your legendary career, man. I have to ask, like, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially, man? Because you're so talented and gifted at what you do.
Man, to be honest with you, it's really funny. So I always tell this story. I hope I don't bore you with it, but I was real young, and I'm originally from Germany. I was born in Germany, and I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and I was at one of my aunt's house and just hanging out, and she had a record player. That shows you how long ago that was, and she was playing this song, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm going, man, that is incredible. How is that doing it? How are the voices coming out of that box? So, and right then and there, I knew, and I said to myself that one day I'm going to figure out how they did that, and one day I want to be doing that. And it was the weirdest thing, and it's just weird that now I'm in the business doing that, and I've been doing it for so many years now.
And I gotta say as well, you know what I mean? I've always fantasized about that too, just knowing how those machines actually work, even radios and transmitters. Like it's kind of crazy how those things actually work, even back in the old days as well.
No, it is. It's true. It's amazing. I mean, technology now, it's incredible the way we've advanced in this music and, you know, with MP3s and CDs and ADATs. I mean, we cassettes. It's unbelievable. It really is. It really is.
But also, as we already know, you know what I mean. As we already know by your career, you were actually a member of the legendary R&B group 4 p.m. I was wondering, what is the origin story behind that iconic group, and of course, how did you actually get connected with the other three members?
Wow, that's actually a long story too. Well, me and Ray, we were military brats. We all grew up together out on the Abilene Proving Ground. It's a army base, and that's how I met Ray and his family. And then eventually they went back. Ray went back to New York City, and I ended up staying in that same area. And that's how I met Marty, one of the members of the group. I ended up living in Havre Grace, Maryland, and I went to school there. But I stayed in touch with Ray in New York, so I kept running back and forth to New York City, you know, to hang out with my friends. And when I got to New York, they had a group called the Pleasures back in the day. And him, his brother, Roberto Pena, and Mike and Eddie and, you know, a couple of other cats, they formed a group called the Pleasures. And I used to watch them sing all the time. And they actually didn't realize I could sing, and I really didn't realize I could sing. But I would just watch them, and I would learn their harmonies, and it was really cool. And then eventually, Ray moved back down to the area where I was living at in Havre Grace, Maryland, from New York. And once we got down in this area, we all decided to get together and form a group. And it was weird because I was hanging out with another friend of mine named Gerald, and I used to sing with him. So he heard a song that I sang with Gerald, and was like, man, this guy can sing. I didn't know he could sing. So we ended up forming a group, and at the time, our name was called For Real. And we would just practice, and, sing the songs that they were singing in New York City. And then we decided to start, to write new songs, and that's what we did. We started writing new material, and we would just sing a cappella everywhere we could. Because, back then, there wasn't no internet at that time. I'm talking around the early 90s, like 90, 91, 92. I think the internet didn't even come into existence until around 95, I think it was. So, so that's kind of the origin of how we got together. And we started singing as a group, and we would just go everywhere, try to be noticed. Because, like I said, we didn't have social media, so we would just run into Baltimore City. We'd go into the Inner Harbor and sing songs for the people there, and then they ended up kicking us out half the time because we didn't have a permit to sing a cappella in front of everyone. So we ended up signing to an agency at that time, too, who ended up booking us gigs at private parties and, things like that. And we ended up traveling back and forth to New York and New Jersey also. And that's how we met the producers in New Jersey. And that's kind of the basic origin of 4 p.m. And then, as the story goes along, we started recording with the producers, Jerry and Morrow, and we started, writing more material. But it took us a while to get a record deal. So we ended up getting management by a man by the name of John Ferry. And John Ferry, who was friends with the producers, said, hey, I need to sign these guys. So we ended up signing to a management. And this took like 3 to 4 years. So we were just back and forth. We couldn't get a record deal. And then finally, John Ferry decided, hey, let's throw a party at my house. And he invited Eddie O'Loughlin from Next Plateau. And he came to the party and he heard us sing because we were singing a cappella. And he said, hey, I need to sign these guys. And that's kind of how we ended up getting a record deal through Next Plateau.
And if I'm not mistaken, Next Plateau was also Polygram Records as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're right. You're 100% correct.
And I got to say, that's actually a great record deal to have, especially being so young, man, because Polygram back in the day had everybody.
Yes. They were also, I guess you could say, subsidiary to London Records too. So that was all like the whole conglomerate there. But we were signed to Next Plateau, and then once we released Sukiyaki, and it was actually a slow mover for us. It didn't take off right away. It was a slow mover for us, and once it took off is when the other major label jumped in and was like, hey, we need to do something with these guys, and we're like, hey, we're already. So we kind of got caught up in a little skirmish between London Records and Next Plateau too. So because we were trying to put an album together, and we were working on an album at that time, which was called Now It's Time, and that was another deal. They were pushing us, hey, we need this album, because the single was doing its thing, and especially after we shot the music video to Sukiyaki, that really helped take it off, because you had MTV back then, you had the box, there were so many other video avenues back then, So that's kind of what helped 4 p.m. take off a little bit.
And I also
we didn't have social media.
I also remember as well that single actually reached top 5 in I believe, Canada and Japan as well, and actually earned gold, man. So it's not every day you actually get a platinum plaque off your very first record. I mean, gold record. My apologies.
Yeah, gold record. Yeah, we were very excited about that. Because like I said, I never thought in a million years that the song was going to do as well as it did. But, like I said, I didn't know that much about the music industry at the time either. We were just singers. So, but yeah, it did real well in Canada. Canada really accepted us, and we had a chance to tour all over Canada, and, all the major cities. And I tell you what, it was fun. It was so much fun for us. And you guys showed so much love. Canadians are incredible. Showed us a lot of love.
And also as well in the mid to late 80s, speaking of touring and actually performing, in the late 1990s, you actually had the opportunity to perform at the legendary House of Blues. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that night, and of course, what was it like being able to be on one of the most infamous stages within the music industry?
Wow, wow, that was incredible for us because, like I said, we were actually on a little tour for the House of Blues. We hit a few spots at the House of Blues, and I tell you what, that stage was incredible because it was more intimate. You know, we were doing small arenas, and then we ended up going to bigger arenas, and then when we did the House of Blues, it was like real intimate. You know what I mean? You know, it didn't hold like thousands and thousands of people, but it was very intimate to us, and we were used to that because, like I said, we started out as more of an a cappella group, so, you know, singing in front of, you know, 30, 40, 50, 100 people was nothing to us, so we just enjoyed doing that. So, yeah, that was a great experience for us, the House of Blues.
And I also saw as well a picture of yourself and Amy Grant. Was that actually the House of Blues night, or was that a separate occasion?
Man, you know, my memory banks just isn't the way it used to be. But to be honest with you, I don't know if that was an arena show or if that was at a smaller venue because we did so many shows with so many different acts that, you know, it was weird too because, like I said, Amy Grant, or we do a show with Laura Branigan, or we did Foreigner. We would be with Cool in the Game. It was just crazy to us because we would just meet all these acts, and we were like, man, you know, typically we were out with like Brandy, Usher. We shared the stage with Usher, so you know, it was that show. I can't remember exactly where that was at because it was so long ago.
Hey, it's completely understandable. I always like digging in the crates and actually finding the older questions, man. So I do get that sometimes, and it's completely understandable.
Yeah, it's like I said, my memory bank ain't like it used to be. It's like, oh, you know, even trying to memorize songs anymore, it's like, wow. You know, it's tough, but, you know, we just got to keep plugging at it.
And also, as well, in the year 2001, you guys actually released your fourth album titled Sweet Soul, but it was actually on the Japanese Pony Canyon label, man. I was wondering, could you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, how did that record deal actually come to be for you guys, being, you know, an American R&B group actually getting signed to a Japanese label?
Man, I'm telling you, you're doing your homework. You did your homework. Yeah, that was pretty strange for us too, because, like I said, we were independent at that time, and we weren't signed to any other label in the U.S., and we were just trying to get that album out, and we were just networking, and we had a friend of ours that was actually a promoter in Japan by the name of Beku, and you know, he was booking a lot of gigs for us in Japan because we just did a lot of tours over there, and he had a lot of connections, so he kind of connected us to the representatives from Pony Canyon, and you know, the rest was history. But what was strange about that whole album was because it had all these different you know, variations of songs on there, and it was a lot of it was remixed. I think we only had maybe one or two songs on it that we, I think, did on our own. But, you know, it was just a strange, to me it was a very strange album, but it was cool. You know, it was laid back. And like I said, I enjoyed doing the remix, you know, Woman, Cherish, Tears in Heaven. I mean, those some, you know, iconic songs, and it was fun doing those songs.
And I gotta ask as well, with the way that album was actually produced and made, like, did you guys have a say in any of that? Because I do know some labels they sometimes give you a say, but other times they're like, no, this is how we want
it. They kind of wanted that album to be that way. That's for that market. I guess, you know, they felt that album would fit that market real well. We were like, okay, that's cool. We'll do it. And like I said, a lot of those songs we loved anyway, so we just went with it, you know what I mean? So it was cool.
And I gotta say, it's a very unique record, but I actually really enjoy it myself. It definitely gives 4 p.m. A little bit of a different taste and a little bit of flavor, but a good flavor that is.
Oh yes, I appreciate that, man. Like I said, you sound like you was one of our biggest fans. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And also, as well, in 2001, the same year, you guys were actually featured on. I want to say, if I get this name wrong, my apologies. But Yuki Kobayashi's Big Star Superstar album, man, on the song "I'll Be There." I was wondering, how did that collaboration come to be? And of course, what was it like just working with Kobayashi in the studio?
Man, I tell you, they have some incredible artists and stuff over there. The band that we had was incredible. Working with him was incredible, and it was just fun for us. I mean, a lot of people when they meet us, they realize that we just enjoy, just singing and collaborating with other people too. So that's one thing we did real well. We were real easy in the studio. It wasn't one of those things, where we get in the studio and it's like we were complicated or we needed this and we needed it. No, we would just get in there and we just had fun and we would just enjoy ourselves.
And also, as well, going into your solo side of things, I actually noticed that in 2008 you actually released your solo 12-track album titled The Urban Project. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this release, and of course, it is still available to be streamed or purchased today.
Yeah, that album is still available, which is funny because I did that album on my own. I had just built my studio in the house, and I was just learning how to use the equipment and everything. And a friend of mine by the name of Porky, that's his stage AKA name, but Alvin is his real name. And he was showing me everything about the studio, and he was showing me all about the engineering part of it. And I was just learning everything, and I was just so anxious to I gotta get something out. I gotta do this. And so I just put this thing together real quick. And it actually turned out pretty decent, for a newbie in the studio. So, and like I said, that's what I came up with at the time.
And I gotta say as well, I really actually like that vibe as well, because it kind of has that hip hop kind of vibe. It's like hip hop and R&B together. I really think it's a unique record. I personally really enjoyed it.
Yes, well, I'm glad you did. That like I said, it had a real hip hop vibe to it. I wanted it to be, because like I said, I love hip hop too, and I always felt that smooth vocals over hip hop beats is such a nice combination. So that's why I think it turned out the way it did. So I was happy with it. I was really happy with it, and I'm glad you were happy with it.
And also as well, August 9th of 2018, you actually released the phenomenal single titled Change. I was always wondering, what is the story and inspiration behind that amazing release?
Wow, Change. Wow, that was it's funny. I did that one, and I kind of just threw it out there. I really didn't really promote it. I didn't really get on social media on it, and I just recorded it and threw it out there, and had TuneCore put it on all these platforms, digital platforms, and I didn't really do much behind it. I just felt like it was a cool song, and I'm more of, like I said, a singer songwriter. I am an artist, and I have a group, and the guys are always available to get together to sing and stuff like that. But I just felt like I wanted to do something different, give it a different vibe. And as you can tell, a lot of my songs all have different vibes, like influences from other artists and stuff like that. So that's why that turned out the way that one did. And that was actually a pretty cool song. Change was a cool song. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that one too.
And also as well, August 20th of this year, you actually released your most recent single titled Secrets. It's actually been spinning in the radio station's rotation since the moment you sent it off to our email. But I was actually wondering, I'm actually going to be playing that right here live on the radio station airwaves immediately following this interview. So for the listeners that haven't had the opportunity to hear it, what can they expect from it if they haven't heard it come right here after this interview?
man, like I said, that song I'm really, really proud and happy of, because like I produced most of that, and I wrote it also, and like I said, my man Porky, he did the 808s and stuff on it, and I think the people really enjoy it, because like I said, it kind of has a little old feel to it, it kind of reminiscent of the 90s, but with a little new twist to it. And I think they'll enjoy that, that song. It's a real cool song. And I've got a couple more under my sleeve that I'm going to be releasing, and you will be the first to get them.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Like I told you the first time, if you send it, I'm definitely going to spin it here on Outlaw Radio FM, man. I really enjoy your music. I really love just the fact that, it sounds bad to say, but a lot of R&B artists, not all of them, but I noticed some of them kind of go with the newer sound and implement some of the auto-tune, but I really like how you are keeping that original R&B sound that we all grew up with and we all enjoyed for so many years.
Man, like I said, that's the way I've always been, and I really didn't want to change that too much. Because, like I said, in some of the songs that I have recorded and I hadn't released, I have put more auto-tune on my voice. But again, I always feel like, man, I know it's the new sound for today, and everybody's using it, but I always feel like, man, it's just a little too much. It felt just a little bit, and I always end up tweaking it and taking a little bit off, and then you still hear it in there a little bit, but it's not oversaturated. So, yeah, I'm working on that one.
But also, I have to ask, as you said, you actually have a few new joints under your sleeve. But other than that, what is next for yourself, Lil Mac, and of course, 4 p.m.? Like, you guys have anything currently in the works? Anything I missed that you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the radio station airwaves this evening.
Well, to be honest with you, there's a lot of tracks that 4 p.m. still has. I think I have probably a catalog of about 10 or 15 songs that were really released, officially released. So some real cool stuff from 4 p.m. And I've been trying to get the guys that in to either revamp them a little bit, do a remix. But a couple of them, man, all I have to do is just master them, I could send them to you, and you'd be like, wow, really, really nice harmony stuff, real cool harmony stuff over some real nice smooth R&B beats. Real cool stuff, and like I said, I'm going to be releasing some more stuff, singles myself. I got another one that is called Displace, and it's real cool. That has a real cool vibe to it. A little bit more of an urban feel than Secrets, and just a hair more than Secrets, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's got a cool vibe to it too. I think they'll really enjoy that too. But like I said, the 4 p.m. stuff, I'm still working on it, but the guys trying to see what they want to do and see if they want me to go ahead and release those. Because like I said, there's 2 or 3 that are definitely ready to release right now. All I have to do is get them mastered and sent out to everyone. But I just have to talk to them about it. And well, what's really interesting about that is I have the fellas here with me. I just have to gather them up. If you would like to hear a little bit of acapella, I would. All I have to do is gather them up, and we could sing a little bit something for you real quick to give you a little taste.
Hey man, if you want to, we most definitely can make that happen, man. That's entirely up to you guys, but I'm all for it, and I'm pretty sure our listeners are on the edge of their seat right now.
Yeah, and I don't know, do you have to go to commercial first and give me time to get the guys rounded up? Because I actually went to one of their houses, and one of the members is throwing his birthday party. So, and I surprised him with this, and I told him, I said, look, I have an interview with a famous DJ here now, DJ Immortal, and I said, look, I got to do my interview, but are you guys willing to sing a song? Not the whole song, just give you a snippet of it, you know what I mean, so we don't bore everyone. And they said they were down for it. It was just a matter of gathering those guys up. I'm in the house right now. They're actually outside. So
what I can do actually is, while you gather them up, I can actually play Secrets right here live on the station for the listeners, and then by the time that's done, I'm pretty sure we should be ready to come back live.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll gather them up, and we'll be ready to go. If you want to go ahead and do that.
All right, sounds good. Most definitely. I'll flick on secrets, and we can definitely, and we'll be back momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, with a little mini performance from the legendary 4 p.m. on Outlaw Radio FM. Back live on the air, ladies and gentlemen. Before we sign off for the evening, here it is, a performance from the legendary gold plaque having R&B group 4 p.m. Take her away, guys.
All right, here we go. With nowhere to hide, contemplating my misery. I remember it all. It was cold outside and the rain just fell. Did it?
We are here, most definitely.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys perfectly. I gotta say, you guys, honestly, you guys sound just like you were back in the day. It sounds like I'm listening to a CD right now.
I appreciate that, man. We appreciate that.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, while we're live as well, happy birthday, Ray. You know what I mean? I heard it's your birthday, so happy birthday on that, man. When we here at Outlaw Radio FM, definitely wish you many, many more to come.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. And like I said, when I get that other single ready to go, I'll be sending it to you, man, and we'll be in touch.
Hey, most definitely. Like I said, if you send it, I'm most definitely going to spin it. I appreciate you, Lil Mac. I don't know if the rest of the guys can hear me, but thank you guys for coming together and giving us a little snippet of what you guys got coming. I greatly appreciate all of you guys, and definitely have yourselves a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
You too, man. Thanks for having me on there, man. In Canada, much love to you guys. Love you.